The stars above the frontier colony were calm, but the space between them felt heavy and wrong. Captain Mason stood in the observation hall of the command station and watched the dark sky. He had seen many patrols and warning drills in his years of service, but this moment felt different. The silence did not feel peaceful. It felt like a breath being held before a storm. Behind him, Commander Emma Brooks walked in with slow and careful steps. Her expression was controlled, but her eyes showed concern. She stopped beside and looked at the main display. Distant shapes were forming on the edge of human space. At first they were only shadows, but every minute they became clearer, larger, and more real. "They have crossed the outer line," Emma said softly. "No false signal this time. It is the Galactic Empire fleet." Nodded, he did not need more confirmation. The data scrolling across the screen already told the truth. The Empire ships moved in perfect lines like iron teeth closing around prey. They did not rush. They did not hesitate. They moved with calm power as if they already owned everything they touched. Jason entered the hall with a tablet pressed to his chest. He spoke without looking up at first. "Long-range scans confirm at least 12 Imperial dreadnoughts and over 40 support vessels. Their energy output is massive. They want us to see them." "Of course they do," replied. "Fear is their first weapon." Emma folded her arms and watched as the Imperial symbols appeared on the outer screen. Sharp lines, cold shapes, and glowing marks branding their territory. The symbols reminded her of a fist closing around something fragile. She felt her jaw tighten. All around the command station, alarms stayed silent, but tension filled every corridor. Officers walked faster. Technicians spoke in hushed voices. No one panicked, but everyone understood what this visit meant. The Galactic Empire did not appear for friendly talks. They appeared to claim, to dominate, and to remind others of their place. Laura sat at her terminal below the main platform. She adjusted scanner arrays and tried to keep her voice steady. "They are sending a communication signal. Heavy encryption, but it is aimed at all colony systems. They want every person to hear it." Straightened his posture. "Root it through, but keep our filters active. I want to hear what they say." The signal filled the hall with a low metallic tone. Then a translated voice rose, cold and distant, like metal rubbing against stone. "Human territories at the rim. You are now in direct contact with the authority of the Galactic Empire. You will surrender control of all trade lanes and planetary defense systems. You will lower all weapon platforms and accept guidance under Imperial command. Resistance will result in cleansing action. Compliance will result in protection and regulated existence. Choose wisely." The message repeated in slow, steady loops, echoing through the station and beyond into the colonies below. Civilians watched from their homes, shops, and farms. Children looked at the sky through glass panels, seeing shapes that did not belong to their world. Emma turned away from the screen. "They speak like we are soil, not people." "That is how they see everyone," said. "Tools or obstacles, nothing else." Jason scrolled through tactical data. Their formation is classic intimidation posture. Wide front wall, dreadnoughts forward, support behind. They are not expecting a real fight, just surrender. Leaned closer to the display. He studied the gaps between ships, the timing of their movement, the rhythm of their patrol arcs. They assume fear will do the work for them. Below them, Laura glanced up. "What are our instructions from Earth Command?" Paused for a moment. The direct line to Earth had already been secured, but the response was careful and delayed. High Command did not give orders lightly when the Empire showed its face. Finally, a secure signal arrived. The voice was clear and calm but firm. It carried no sign of panic. "Frontier Command, you are authorized to initiate response protocol Horizon Laugh. Maintain calm posture. Do not escalate yet. Gather data. Delay engagement until further notice." Emma raised an eyebrow. "Horizon Laugh, that old theory file they never talk about." Gave a faint smile. "Yes, the one they told us would never be used. Jason frowned slightly. That protocol was built for psychological counterplay, not direct defense. Are they serious? They are, replied. And that means this is not just about firepower. This is about making a statement. Outside the station windows, the Imperial fleet continued to advance. Their ships were smooth, dark, and perfectly shaped, like weapons made from shadow. Bright lines of energy pulsed along their hulls, showing power and control. Each vessel projected a field that bent nearby light, giving them an unreal presence. Emma watched the slow approach. They want the people to see this. They want them to feel small. Some already do, said quietly, but not all of them. He thought of the colonies spread across nearby systems. Miners, farmers, engineers, families who had built small lives under strange suns. They had risked isolation and danger for freedom. The Empire saw only distant assets, saw faces, voices, stubborn hope. On one of the lower levels, civilians gathered at public screens. Shaw, a pilot who was off duty, stood with his hands in his pockets. His eyes narrowed as he stared at the Empire ships. So this is what they think will scare us, he muttered. A woman beside him nodded, fear in her eyes but also anger. Back in command, Emma adjusted communication filters. They are broadcasting psychological pressure waves, subtle but designed to weaken emotional stability. Can we block it? Asked. Partially, Laura replied. Full block risk system instability. I will dampen it. The hum in the air shifted slightly as Laura made the change. Some tension eased, but the presence of the Empire remained like a cold hand. Jason leaned closer too. Do you think they will fire if we delay too long? They want submission, not chaos, said. They will wait, but not forever. They want the choice to look impossible. The Imperial signal repeated again, harsher in tone. Time is limited. Your compliance window closes soon. The Empire does not offer mercy twice. Emma clenched her fists. They think they own time itself. Watched the timer that had appeared on the display, counting down in slow, deliberate numbers. It was not a real necessity. It was theater, a forced stage for fear. Below, Laura prepared additional data feeds. I am collecting full scans of their ship cores. Their heat patterns, frequency shifts, shield fluctuations. If they move to attack, we will not be blind. Good, said. Focus on detail. They thrive on surprise. We respond with understanding. Hours passed in tense silence. No weapons fired. No sudden moves. Just the slow ticking of the Empire's false deadline and the quiet resistance of human resolve. Emma looked at. Do you remember the training simulations about Horizon Laugh? Yes, he said. It told us that fear is a signal, not a command. And that laughter can be armor, she added. Gave a soft exhale. Not mockery, not chaos, but confidence. The kind that makes the enemy question their own power. Outside, the Imperial fleet reached optimum intimidation distance. Their largest dreadnought moved forward slightly, casting a wide shadow over the command station. Its surface glowed with energy, ready to fire if given the order. Laura spoke again, voice steady. They are charging forward phase arrays, not active but primed. They are flexing, Jason said. Yes, agreed. A display muscle, nothing more. Emma tilted her head, and our people. Opened a civilian channel monitor. He heard scattered voices from the colonies, some fearful, some angry, some strangely calm. One farmer spoke about feeding his animals as usual. A child laughed at a floating drone. A mechanic joked that the Empire ships looked like oversized beetles. Felt a small spark of warmth. They are still living, he said. That is our answer for now. As the false countdown reached its final minutes, the Empire sent one last transmission, harsh and cold. Final warning. Surrender your command authority to Imperial control. Failure to comply will result in decisive response. Emma looked at and waited. Pressed the internal channel. Hold all defensive fire. Maintain observation stance. Do not respond verbally. Silence is our first move." Across the station, every officer understood. The choice was not weakness, it was strategy. Outside, the Empire ships remained poised, ready to prove their dominance. Inside, the humans waited, steady and unshaken, gathering knowledge instead of giving in to fear. Watched the dark shapes in the stars and thought of the coming moments. This was only the beginning. The Empire expected screams. It would soon learn that humans answered intimidation with calm, and calm often turned into something far more dangerous. And somewhere in the quiet corridors of command, the idea still whispered through every system and every mind. The silent promise of Horizon Laugh preparing to rise when the time was right. Hours after the Imperial deadline passed, the frontier station floated in tense quiet. No attack came. No new message arrived. The Empire ships simply waited in the dark like patient hunters, sure their prey would finally break. Inside the command center, Captain Mason stood by the main console while Emma Brooks and Jason reviewed new data. Laura watched the power grids and shield systems with calm care. Everyone looked tired, but no one looked broken. A soft tone sounded from the secure channel, turned at once and accepted the incoming connection. The symbol of Earth Command appeared on the display, followed by the calm face of Admiral Nora Lane. Her voice was steady. "Frontier Command, receive full activation for Protocol Horizon Laugh. This order comes from the Joint Council and the Defense Board. From this moment, you will prepare not only to defend, but to answer." Emma glanced at. She had seen recordings of the Admiral before, but now there was something different in the woman's eyes. There was no fear, only a hard and quiet resolve. "Understood," Admiral said. "What are our primary objectives?" "First, you will hold your current position," Nora replied. "Second, you will send the attached orders to all shipyards and fleet groups in range. Third, you will maintain the appearance of hesitation. The Empire must believe we are still thinking, still afraid. They must think they are winning the psychological battle." Jason raised his brows slightly but stayed silent. "And the final objective?" asked. Nora leaned forward. "The final objective is to make the Empire doubt its own image of power, not in a small way, in a way they will remember every time they see a human ship again." The secure link closed. A stream of encrypted files flowed into the command system. Laura routed them to secure storage while Jason scanned the first page of orders. "This is bigger than a local defense plan," Jason said. "They are waking up the whole theater. Shipyards on Mars, Luna, Titan, Ceres, even the hidden ones out past Neptune." His voice held a note of quiet wonder. Emma tilted her head. So the rumors were true. Some of those platforms were never just for research. Gave a small nod. They were waiting for a day like this. Across the solar system, dormant signals came to life. On the far side of Mars, a dry dock that looked like a simple cargo hub revealed layers of hidden structure. Panels slid back. Armored frameworks unfolded. Inside, heavy vessels rested in shadow, coated in dust and silence. Now lights flickered along their hulls as systems woke up. On Luna, under a gray crater, a hangar opened to the stars. Small agile ships rose on magnetic rails, their engines charging with a soft hum. They did not look pretty or polished. Their hulls carried patchwork armor, external modules, and exposed docking. They looked like machines built by people who valued function over style. Near the orbit of Saturn, a ring of civilian-looking platforms turned and linked together, forming a new command lattice. Data burst through new lines, linking fleets, stations, and ground bases into a single net. In one of those hidden control centers stood over a round table display. She wore a simple gray uniform with a dark service stripe, her hair tied back in a plain knot. She was not tall and not outwardly fierce, but her eyes were sharp and bright. They moved quickly over streams of data, catching patterns others might miss. Link with Frontier Command is stable, an operator said. Captain Mason is ready to receive coordinated plans. Nodded. Good. Open a direct tactical channel and wake the crews in Group Echo and Group Nova. Tell them they will not be following standard doctrine today. They will ask for details, the operator said. Then we tell them the truth, replied. The Empire thinks it knows how battles are supposed to look. We will show them something they have never seen. Back at the frontier station, watched as ship deployment markers appeared on the outer map. Tiny human icons lit up one after another, forming lines, arcs, and clusters across space. Emma whistled softly under her breath. That is a lot of ships. I thought half of these were just stories. Some of them were, Jason said, until today. Laura's fingers moved quickly over the controls. I am syncing local systems with the new fleet network. Response times are dropping. Data resolution is climbing. We are not alone anymore. We were never alone, said, but now the Empire will see it. On the colony world below, in a small hangar set apart from the main base, Shaw stood with a group of pilots and crew members. The air smelled of fuel and metal. A maintenance bot rolled past, whirring quietly. An officer stepped forward and cleared his throat. We have new orders from Fleet Command. He tapped his tablet. You are being reassigned to Task Group Nova for an advanced maneuver operation. Ship assignment is updated. Took the tablet and read the line that mattered. Fighter Wing Nova 3, lead pilot Shaw. His mouth twitched in a half-smile. So they are really doing it. Horizon laugh. I thought that thing was a joke. It was never a joke, the officer replied. It was just waiting for the right stage. Turned to look at the craft waiting on the launch rail. At first glance, it did not look impressive. Its hull was uneven, covered in layered armor plates of different shades. Small external pods were mounted on flexible arms. There were no smooth curves or shining logos. Instead, there were small repairs and markings left by many hands. She is not pretty, said quietly. She does not have to be, the officer said. She just has to be faster, smarter, and stranger than anything the Empire is used to. Ran a hand along the hull. He felt the small vibrations from the power core waking up. Strange I can do, he said. While pilots, engineers, and crew prepared across the system, the Empire remained in its flawless formation at the edge of human space. Inside the largest Imperial dreadnought, the High Commander of the task force stood in a wide control hall. His name was Lord, and he wore armor more symbolic than practical. He watched the data feed and felt only mild interest. The humans have not yet surrendered, one of his officers said. Some irregular ship movements have been noted in the inner systems. They appear to be deploying older vessels and civilian craft. Nothing significant. Of course they are, replied. His voice held the calm of someone who had seen countless systems fall. They will cling to hope until the last moment. Let them. Their scattered efforts only underline their weakness. Shall we repeat the message? The officer asked. Yes, said, but increase the pressure waves. Let them feel our presence in every thought. New waves of imperial influence rolled out, subtle and deep, pressing against human minds. Some civilians felt sudden unease, some small spike of fear, a moment of doubt. But in command centers and ship bridges, the dampening systems Laura and others had put in place absorbed the worst of it. Watched the graphs and saw the peaks flatten. They are trying harder, Laura said. Then we know we are doing something right, Emma answered. His voice came through the tactical channel, calm and precise. Frontier Command, this is Central Coordination. Horizon Laugh Stage 1 is in effect. I am sending you maneuver packets now. Do not broadcast our full fleet numbers. Let them see only what we want them to see. Understood, replied. What do you need from us? You are the face they are watching, said. They think you are just a frightened border guard. You must act like it. Delay. Ask for time, present confusion. We will move behind the curtain. Emma gave a sideways look. You know, I trained for many things. I did not expect pretending to be scared would be one of them. Gave a small smile. Think of it as theater with heavy audience participation. He opened the outgoing channel to the Imperial fleet, but limited its range. They would not see the wider web of human forces. They would only see a single station and its commander. This is Captain Mason of Frontier Command, he said. His voice was calm but carried a hint of strain. We have received your demands. Earth Command requires more time to consider. We request an extension of the compliance window. In the Imperial Hall, some officers smiled with quiet amusement. There it is, one said. Hesitation, fear. Lord listened and felt the familiar satisfaction of a script playing as expected. How much time do they request? He asked. They did not specify, the officer replied. Then we will allow them a small delay, said. Enough to think they are being considered, not enough to attempt anything useful. Send a reply. Soon afterward, the frontier station received the Empire's answer. Emma read it out loud. You are granted a brief extension for consultation, no more than 6 of your hours. Failure to comply at the end of this period will result in decisive action. 6 hours, Jason said. They really think that is nothing. For them it is nothing, said. For us, it will be the busiest 6 hours of our lives. And so the work began. In those 6 hours, human space moved in quiet, almost invisible ways. Small ships left hidden docks and slipped into deeper orbits. Large carriers powered up their jump drives. Data beams flashed between outposts, carrying codes and instructions. Stood over the tactical table and watched as her planned formations built themselves in real time. She was not moving simple lines of warships. She was shaping a dance. Group Echo start pattern beta, she said into her headset. You will approach the frontier line in scattered fashion. No tight formation. Look disorganized. Look tired. But keep your jump paths in sync. Copy that, came a pilot's voice. We will look like a mess, ma'am. Only on the surface, replied. She turned to another operator. How are Nova units? They are ready, the operator said. Pilots briefed and armed. Specialist Shaw is leading Nova 3 wing. Good, said. They will be our needle. The Empire built a wall. We will thread right through it. On his carrier, sat in the cockpit of his fighter. The interior was tight and filled with layered controls. He ran through his checks with smooth hands. His flight lead symbol blinked on the display. Nova 3 sound off, he said. Voices came back one by one. Nova 3-2 ready, 3-3 ready, 3-4 ready. Each voice carried its own mix of nerves and excitement. Listen up, said. They think they know how we fight. Direct, straight lines, standard patterns. We are not giving them that. Stay flexible, stay loose. Our job is not to look strong. Our job is to make them feel unsure. Do we get to shoot anything? One pilot asked. When the time is right, answered. For now, think of this as the worst possible job in theater. You have to act like you are having fun in front of the largest enemy fleet we have ever seen. Some small laughter came over the line. It was not loud or forced. It was genuine, sharp, and a little wild. C said, we are already doing it. As human ships moved into place, the Empire monitored long-range scans. Their sensors picked up increased activity, but the patterns looked uneven and random. They are stirring, an Imperial tech officer said. Some ship launches, some power readings, nothing that suggests organized resistance. They may be preparing for evacuation or symbolic defense. Lord nodded slowly. They will send token forces to make themselves feel brave. Then they will break, as they always do. Back at the frontier station, watched the clock tick down. 4 hours left, then 3.5. Emma updated him on new arrivals. First wave of support ships will reach visual range in about 1 hour. They are running silent and broadcasting civilian profiles until the last minute. The Empire will think they are desperate backup, Jason said. Until they move, Laura added. New icons appeared on the station's outer display. At first they were small and pale, then brighter as they closed the distance. Some looked like cargo haulers with extra plating. Others resembled old patrol craft with new attachments. They do not look like a proud fleet, Emma said. They are not supposed to, replied. Not yet. His voice came back over the tactical channel. Stage 2 of Horizon Laugh is about shape. The Empire expects clean lines and clear ranks. We will give them clutter, noise, and strange angles. Our ships will not hold static walls. They will drift, cluster, and break apart in ways that look like confusion but follow hidden paths. When they try to lock on, nothing will match their models. We will look like we do not know what we are doing, Jason said. And that will be our first real weapon, answered. As the fleet assembled, sent a brief message to the colony governors. This is Captain Mason. We are beginning active response. You may see what looks like chaos in the sky. Do not fear it. Our people know where they are going. Keep civilians under cover, but do not broadcast panic. Stay with your routines as much as you can. Our best shield is still our normal life. Replies came back in short acknowledgments. Some included small comments. We trust you. We are ready. Give them something to think about. On one of the colony farms, a family stood outside at dusk, watching the strange patterns in the sky. Ships moved in odd lines and loops, leaving faint trails. The youngest child pointed and laughed. They look like they are playing, she said. Her father watched a moment longer, then smiled a slow, proud smile. Maybe they are, he replied. As the last hour of the extension approached, the human fleet took its final positions. No two ships held the same vector. Small craft drifted in loose clouds. Larger carriers moved at odd angles, sometimes presenting their smallest profile, sometimes their largest. It was like looking at a flock of birds caught in a strange crosswind. On the Imperial dreadnought, officers frowned at the changing display. Their formations are irregular, one said. There is no clear front line. Their ships are not maintaining stable rows or wedges. Another officer shrugged. They are disorganized, they have no central doctrine, this makes them weak. Lord stared at the chaotic screen for a long moment. A small line formed at the edge of his mouth, not quite a frown. Weak, he said, as if testing the word against what he saw. Perhaps, or perhaps simply untrained. Either way, they are not a match for us. He turned away. The extension ends soon. Begin final weapons checks. Our decisive action must be clean. One blow, one lesson. Back on the frontier station, felt the shift in the air as the Empire warmed its main guns. Power spikes flared on the scanners. They are getting ready, Laura said. So are we, replied. Final instructions came through with quiet weight. Horizon Laugh Stage 3 is about timing. When they fire, we will not match their rhythm. Our ships will move early, late, sideways, anything but straight. They will try to read our fear. Instead, they will feel something else. What exactly? Emma asked softly. They will feel that the story in their heads is wrong, said. And once that starts, it is very hard to stop. Looked at his crew. Emma at tactical, Jason at analysis, Laura at systems, the many officers at their posts. Every face showed a mix of strain and steady focus. We have done everything we can to prepare, he said. From here on, we trust our people, we trust our ships, and we remember why we are here, not to impress the Empire, not to match their show. We are here to protect our homes and each other. That is enough. No one spoke, but many straightened in their seats. The quiet in the command center grew deeper, stronger. Outside in the dark between stars, the human fleet floated in its strange shifting patterns, full of life and tension. The Empire watched, certain it would crush this odd, restless cloud. And somewhere in that cloud, Shaw sat in his fighter, a small smile on his face. He checked his weapons, checked his engines, then opened his squad channel. "Nova 3, he said, voice steady and light. "When the Empire makes its move, remember one thing. They came here thinking they would scare us into silence. They have no idea how loud we can get when we are not afraid." His answered with short, sharp laughs. In that moment, before the first shot of the coming battle, Horizon Laugh was no longer just a protocol on a screen. It was real, alive, and ready to unfold. And far away, watched the changing patterns and knew that when the Empire finally struck, it would be stepping into a storm it did not understand. The first flash of Imperial fire cut across the black of space like a burning line of anger. From the forward dreadnought, a main beam struck outward, wide and bright, aimed at what the Empire believed was the heart of the human fleet. The shot carried enough power to crack a small moon in half. But the spot it struck was empty. Moments before the beam arrived, the human ships in that cluster shifted in strange sideways motion, sliding in smooth arcs that felt almost slow, almost lazy. The Empire beam tore through nothing but drifting dust and faint engine wake. Inside the command station, Mason watched the impact data with calm focus. The screen glowed with markers, vectors, and sudden changes. He heard Laura's voice rise slightly in alert but not fear. "Main Imperial batteries are firing in sequence. They are targeting based on predicted formations," she said. "Their models assume we will hold lines." "We are not holding anything," replied. "Let them chase shadows." Emma Brooks tracked the movement flow. Group Echo is shifting exactly as planned. Their drift pattern is confusing the Empire sensors. Their tracking solutions keep resetting. Jason added quietly, "Imperial targeting accuracy has dropped by 40% already." In his fighter cockpit, Shaw saw the first Imperial beam flash past like a sudden artificial sunrise. His sensors wailed for a moment, then settled. "Nova 3, keep motion loose," he said. "Do not fly straight. Do not form neat shapes. Think like water, not like steel." His fighters moved as told, sliding past each other, dipping low, rising up, weaving in smooth flowing paths. From outside they looked almost playful, like bright insects dancing around a slow giant. On the Imperial dreadnought, Lord narrowed his eyes as reports came in. "Direct hits minimal," an officer said. "Their ships are moving in non-optimal but unpredictable patterns." "Increase fire spread," ordered. "Saturate the area, overwhelm their movement." More Imperial beams flared. Dozens of smaller weapons joined the fire. Space filled with lines, pulses, and glowing spheres of destruction. But again and again, the human ships moved just ahead of impact, shifting sideways, backward, or at odd angles that made no military sense within Imperial doctrine. Inside one carrier, watched the live tactical feed. Her eyes traced movement flows with quiet satisfaction. "Good," she murmured. "They are trying to force us into neat answers. We will give them none." She leaned closer to her headset. "Group Nova, prepare for pocket insertion. Your window will open in 12 seconds. Follows Mark." "Copy," replied. His hands were steady on the controls. His heart was fast but not wild. He felt strangely clear, as if the fear had sharpened his focus instead of dulling it. On his guidance screen, a faint corridor opened through the chaos of beams and pulses. It was not safe. It was never meant to be. It was just possible. "Nova 3, push," said. His fighters surged forward, slipping through the narrow gap. Energy lances grazed their hulls. Shock waves rattled their frames. Warning tones filled the cockpit, then faded as he corrected the vector. They passed under the main line of Imperial ships, entering a zone of relative shadow behind the massive dreadnought wall. "You are inside the curtain," his voice said. "Plant disruption nodes on primary shield processors. Do not stay longer than 80 seconds. "Understood," replied. He guided his fighter toward a glowing section of the dreadnought's lower hull. The surface looked smooth and perfect, like a wall carved from polished night. He aligned his release system and fired. Small dark pods shot forward, clamping onto the dreadnought hull. They drilled in with sharp, focused pulses, then went silent. In the command hall of the dreadnought, Imperial officers saw new alerts bloom across their displays. "Shield fluctuation detected," one said. "Unexpected logic feedback." "Compensate," ordered, his voice calm but tight. "Compensating," the officer replied. "But the cycles are not stabilizing. Something is interfering with our processing layers." More human pods spread across nearby ships, planting the same silent seeds. Back at the frontier station, Laura watched the shield graphs. She saw Imperial shield coherence dip for a brief moment, then stutter. "Disruption cores are active," she said. "Their shield systems are attempting to correct, but the feedback loops are growing." Emma smiled faintly. "They built their shields to be perfect. We built ours to be flexible." "And flexible systems do not panic when surprised," said. He looked out through the main viewport at the chaos beyond. Imperial firestorms met strange human motion. Beams missed. Pulses slid past empty space. Human ships drifted and curved with smooth confidence. The Empire had expected terror. Instead, they were chasing ghosts. On the dreadnought bridge, watched the screen with growing tension. His jaws tightened just slightly. "Why do they move this way?" he asked. "Their pattern is chaotic." "It may be a sign of fear," one officer suggested. "Erratic behavior under stress." "No," said slowly. "Fear seeks escape, this seeks engagement." He turned sharply. "Adjust predictive models. Run variants that allow for nonlinear intent." "We are attempting that now," the officer said. "But the human motion does not settle into any known doctrine. It keeps changing." Bacon's fighter, the first set of pods detonated with focused shock. Not enough to breach the dreadnought hull, but enough to throw shield processors into confused states. His display lit with new data. Imperial targeting lines flickered and broke around him. "They cannot see us clearly now," he said. "Nova 3, pull out Vector 2. Smooth exit, do not rush it." His wing peeled away in graceful curves, sliding back into the wider field of human ships. They did not flee in panic. They drifted out, almost casual, leaving the dreadnought to fight invisible errors in its own systems. From the command station, Jason observed the unfolding confusion. "Imperial command response time is increasing," he said. "Their fire cycles are losing sync with our movement." "They are trying to force order on something that refuses it," Emma replied. "And every second they fail, their confidence fractures." Another Imperial volley struck near a cluster of human ships. The blast was heavy and bright, but the ships split apart just before impact, flowing around the damaged cloud like water around a rock. On one of the carriers, a young technician laughed openly for a moment before catching himself. "I am sorry," he said. "I just have never seen them miss so much." His commander looked at the display and shook her head in wonder. "Do not apologize. Laughter means you are still human." That soft laughter began to spread through audio channels. Not mocking, not cruel. It was raw release, sharp joy mixed with shock and disbelief. The Empire heard fragments of it through intercepted noise channels. His eyes darkened as faint human voices echoed through distorted feeds. The sound was not of fear. It was not pleading or rage. It was something else. "They are laughing," one officer said in quiet confusion. "They should not be laughing," replied. He watched as another beam missed its target by a wide margin when the human ship performed a sudden sideways roll and curved dive, like a bird cutting through wind. "Increase power to forward guns," he ordered. "If precision fails, then raw force will bring compliance." Huge energy reserves surged into the dreadnought core. Its main cannons glowed brighter, deeper, almost white. On the frontier station, Laura's hands moved faster. "They are overcharging," she warned. "If they release a full spread, the shock wave will be massive." "We anticipated this," said. "Prepare dynamic shield routing and broadcast warning to all units." His voice came in calm and firm. "All groups prepare for Imperial overstrike. Follow phase shimmer pattern. Do not engage in straight retreat. Bend with the wave." "Copy," multiple voices replied. Heard the order and adjusted his vector. His fighter rolled into a shallow arc course. His wing followed, forming no clean line, only a loose flowing sweep. Then the Imperial guns fired. Space bloomed with unbearable light. A wave of compressed energy surged outward, distorting the region like a slow, invisible wall. Human shields flared. Engines roared. Ships bent their paths, twisting away from the core impact, sliding along the edge of the destructive wave rather than meeting it head-on. Some outer hulls scorched. A few minor craft took glancing hits, but the fleet held its shape as a living swarm. When the light faded, many human ships still remained, still moving, still calm. On the Imperial bridge, silence fell. "Their casualties are lower than projected," an officer said quietly. "Far lower." Hal muttered, "Do they keep turning force into noise?" On the frontier station, Emma released a slow breath. "They expected us to break," she said. "Instead, we learned their rhythm." "And they are learning that their rhythm is not universal," replied. More Nova units plunged in and out of Imperial formation gaps, leaving behind more small pods and silent disruptions. Each one weakened the Empire's perfect machine a little more, shaking the illusion of control. Guided his fighter back through a tight corridor of stray fire and debris. "Nova 3 status check," he said. One by one, voices answered. Scratched hull, strained shields, but everyone still flying. "We are still here," said, and allowed a soft chuckle. "They are trying so hard." "They do not understand," one pilot replied. "They came to scare us. They forgot we learned to be brave in worse conditions than this." On a distant carrier, watched the ripple effects spread across Imperial structure. Data lines showed rising error rates, delayed responses, and growing command hesitation. "Stage 3 is holding," she said. "The doubt is forming. Keep the pressure steady, not sharp, steady. Let them sit in their confusion." Back on the Imperial dreadnought, paced slowly across the bridge floor. His officers shifted under his gaze. "Humans should not respond like this," he said. "They are a young race. Their records show divided politics and internal conflict. This level of unity and strange adaptation is statistically illogical." "They may be operating under desperate instinct," one officer suggested. Stopped and stared at the main screen, where human ships flowed and curved through space with almost artistic motion. "No," he said quietly, "this is not instinct alone, this is choice." He turned sharply. "Prepare secondary tactical shift. We will engage close-range capture of selected vessels. If we cannot break their formation, we will pull pieces from it." Orders flashed through Imperial ranks. Smaller assault ships began to spread forward, angling toward the nearest human cluster. On the frontier station, Jason saw the pattern change. "They are switching to capture mode," he warned. "They want physical proof of dominance, a trophy." "We will not give them one," said. He opened Channel 2. Imperial assault units moving in, intend to isolate targets. "Let them try," replied. "Shift groups Alpha and Delta to scatter lure pattern. Lead their cutters away from our core elements." Human ships adjusted smoothly. A small cluster loosened and drew away, appearing vulnerable. Imperial assault craft surged toward these ships like predators spotting weak prey. Watched it happen and heard new instructions. "Nova 3, you will escort Delta Scatter Group. Keep their path alive and unreachable," said. "Copy that," replied. He and his wing slid into position behind the drifting human ships, weaving around them, keeping tight but fluid formation. Imperial craft fired grappling beams and short-range pulses, but every time the beam locked, the targeted ship shifted just enough to break the hold. "They keep slipping," an Imperial pilot growled over open channel. "Their motion is illogical." "Continue pursuit," his commander ordered. "Adapt." But the more they tried to adapt, the more the pattern shifted again. On the frontier station, Laura smiled faintly at her screen. "Their systems are overheating from rapid recalculation," she said. "They are forcing their machines to think like our people, and the machines do not like that." "Maybe they should have asked humans how to do it," Emma replied. Allowed himself a small moment of quiet pride. The humans were not winning by raw power alone. They were winning by refusing to follow a script written by someone else. As the engagement stretched on, the mockery and the laughter changed into something more focused. Still light, still sharp, but edged with iron determination. This was not chaos anymore, it was expression. From the stars it must have looked strange. A vast imperial wall facing a cloud of restless human motion, one rigid, one alive. And in that living motion, there was a sound the Empire could not measure or calculate. The sound of people facing fear and answering with calm defiance, with readiness, and yes, with laughter that said clearly that intimidation had failed. And while the battle still raged, and the final outcome was not yet sealed, one truth had already taken root in the dark between worlds. Human ships did not just defend. They laughed back. And the Empire began to understand that this laughter was not weakness. It was warning. The battle did not end with a single loud moment. It faded slowly, like a storm that lost its strength because it could not understand the wind it faced. Imperial fire began to slow, not because they wished peace, but because their systems no longer spoke with the same harmony they once trusted. Commands from the dreadnought delayed. Targeting arrays hesitated. Shield processors flickered under the constant strain of disruption and forced recalculation. On the Imperial bridge, Lord stood stiff and silent. His officers moved with careful precision, trying to restore order that no longer wished to exist. "Shield failures on forward support ship," one said. "Secondary dreadnought structure integrity reduced by 6%. Human craft continue irregular movement patterns," another added. "Our prediction models have fallen below acceptable accuracy." Watched the shifting human fleet with narrowed eyes. Their ships no longer looked weak or chaotic to him. Now they looked like something controlled, something aware, something choosing every move with quiet purpose. "Cease forward assault," he said at last. "Regroup vessels in defensive shell around command core." An officer blinked in surprise. "You wish to withdraw from active engagement range." "I did not say withdraw," replied. "I said regroup." But even as he spoke, the truth crept into his mind. Regroup was the first step of retreat, and everyone on the bridge felt it, even if no one dared voice it. Across space, Imperial ships began to pull back, tightening into layered clusters. Their once bold advance turned into protective compression. Guns that had roared now grew still between sporadic bursts. On the frontier station, Jason noticed the change first. "Their posture is shifting," he said. "They are drawing inward, reducing outward aggression." "They are protecting themselves," Emma said softly. "They are afraid of what they cannot read." Watched the unfolding pattern with careful eyes. He felt no urge to chase, no hunger for revenge. "Hold all pursuit," he ordered. "Maintain distance, maintain presence. We let them decide their own next step." "Copy, Captain," multiple voices answered through the fleet channel. S voice joined in, calm and firm. "We achieved primary goal. The Empire no longer frames this battle as a display of dominance. They are managing damage and uncertainty. Do not break their retreat wall. Let the pressure stay psychological, not physical." Human ships adjusted again, slowing their wild dance into a more stable but still fluid formation. They surrounded the space without trapping it, present but not aggressive. In his fighter, guided his craft into a broad arc near his wing. The hum of the engines felt quieter now. The air inside his cockpit no longer seemed tight. "Nova 3, we ease off," he said. "Stay alert but relax your posture. We did our job." "That was the strangest battle I have ever flown," one pilot replied. "I never thought dodging would feel like singing." "It was not just dodging," said. "It was telling a story they did not want to hear." On the Imperial dreadnought, stepped closer to the communication console. The human ships hovered at a respectful but powerful distance. Their presence felt like an unspoken judgment. His eyes flickered over the data. Numbers, loss reports, system strain, strategic notes, but none of it explained what he felt in his core. For the first time in many campaigns, he did not feel certain of his right to command the situation. "Open channel to human command," he said quietly. A junior officer looked up sharply. "You wish direct communication?" "Yes," replied. "Their behavior demands understanding." The channel opened. On the frontier station, the Imperial seal appeared on the screen. The air felt heavy again, but this time it was not fear. It was awareness. "Frontier Command, incoming transmission from Imperial Task Force Leader," Laura announced. "Route it through," said. The translated voice filled the hall, no longer as cold, no longer as grand. "Human Commander, your fleet behavior deviates from all expected engagement structures. Explain your intent." Emma exchanged a quiet glance with. "He does not even begin with threat now," she murmured. Stepped forward and activated his reply channel. "This is Captain Mason," he said. "Our intent has always been clear. You arrived to command. We responded to defend. Your intimidation was refused, that is all." There was a pause before replied. "You have the strategic advantage to press further, yet you do not. Why?" Did not answer right away. He watched the human ships outside, their movement calm, their presence steady. "Because domination is not our language," he said at last. "You gave us two choices, obedience or destruction. We offer a third, distance and respect." On the Imperial bridge, silence dropped again. Turned slightly away from the screen, considering the words as a commander, not as a conqueror. "Your species responds to threat with laughter," he said slowly. "This is not logical." "Logic is not the only force that shapes us," replied. "Sometimes survival is written in refusal." Another long pause filled the channel. Then spoke once more, voice lower, measured. "We will review this engagement. Our fleet will withdraw beyond your designated orbit. Future interactions will require new assessment." "That will be received as acknowledgement," said. "Safe distance will be respected as long as you respect our space." "Understood," replied. The channel closed. Outside, the Imperial wall shifted once more. Ships turned away slowly, like a tide revering. Their once sharp forward stance softened into departure vectors. One by one, they moved backward into darker space, pulling their light with them. On the frontier station, a quiet hush filled the hall. Jason exhaled deeply. "They are actually leaving." "Yes," Laura said. "Their core units are disengaging. Their support ships are following." Emma crossed her arms and watched the retreating glow. "They came to teach us fear. They are leaving with a lesson instead." Nodded slowly, "And so are we." Across the human fleet, quiet voices rose over internal channels. Relief, disbelief, soft laughter, tired joy. No cheers exploded. No wild shouting filled the void. Just the calm understanding that they had held their ground long enough for the storm to pass. On the carrier, removed her headset and leaned back in her chair. She allowed herself a slow, quiet smile. The tactical display showed the Empire moving farther away, the uncertainty spreading through their data. They will tell stories about this, an operator said. They will warn others. That is the point, replied, not fear memory. She stood and watched the stars through the viewport. Humanity had not won by strength alone. It had won by refusing to behave the way it was expected to behave. Back in his fighter, guided his craft into approach formation with his carrier. The docking arms opened gently, welcoming him home. As magnetic clamps locked into place, he released a shaky breath he did not know he had been holding. You brought us back clean, he said. We all did, replied. We trusted each other, that was the difference. He powered down the main systems and sat for a moment in silence, listening to the soft ping of cooling metal. Outside, the battle space felt quiet again, empty, but changed. On the Frontier Command Station, walked alone toward the wide observation window. Beyond the glass, the last visible lines of Imperial light faded into distant darkness. Emma approached and stood beside him. What do you think they will do next? She asked. Considered the question. They will think, he said, and they will remember. That is enough for now. You know they will test us again someday, she said. Yes, he replied, but next time they will not come expecting silence. He folded his hands behind his back and let his gaze travel over the slow-orbiting human ships. Repair drones moved softly between them. Crews checked damage, recalibrated systems, shared quiet stories through open channels. Up here in the thin, cold dark, something rare and fragile had been protected. Joyce, freedom, and a voice that refused to be crushed. Later, a single message was sent across open space, carried by calm signal waves rather than blade or beam. It reached listening posts, trade nodes, and far-wandering fleets of every known power. It was simple and clear. Human space does not answer intimidation with submission. We answer with awareness, unity, and unwavering presence. Approach with respect, and you will find partnership. Approach with control, and you will find resistance. The message did not carry threat or triumph. It carried certainty. On small colony worlds, civilians returned to their lives with stories already forming on their lips. Children replayed the flickering patterns of ships on handheld screens. Elders spoke of quiet courage and unseen strength. They laughed, one old man said softly, not because it was funny, but because they were not afraid. On a quiet hill under a soft alien sun, a young girl looked up and smiled wide as a patch of light crossed the sky. They sound brave, she said. Her mother nodded. They were brave and kind. The girl tilted her head. Will the scary ships come again? Maybe, her mother said, but now they know who we are. Far above continued to watch the stars, the silence, the gentle, slow movement of human steel and will. He did not feel pride like fire. He felt something deeper. He felt peace born from standing, not bending. A reminder that no empire, no matter how vast, could own a people who had learned to look into darkness and answer with calm, defiance, and yes, even laughter. And so the day passed into history. The day the Galactic Empire tried to intimidate. The day human ships appeared and laughed. Not as a joke, but as a promise that fear would never decide who they were.